Do our conversations about crypto have you wanting to do more with your career? Check out Fidelity, which has been exploring Bitcoin and blockchain since 2014. They were the first traditional asset manager to launch a native crypto business and also among the first to launch a Bitcoin exchange-traded product. So why consider Fidelity? Because they invest in their talent with continuing education programs and they invest in their technology, ensuring associates are working with the latest and greatest so that their crypto teams can continue to improve and evolve their product, staying ahead of the rapidly changing digital asset landscape. With Fidelity's iterative, scalable approach, built to meet today's increasing demands across the digital space, and a commitment to developing innovative tools, there's never been a more interesting time to work in crypto and DeFi at Fidelity. Explore Fidelity Crypto Careers today. Go to crypto.fidelitycareers.com to learn more. That's crypto.fidelitycareers.com. Fidelity is an equal opportunity employer. And now it is on with the show. My guest today is Michael Sena. Michael is the CSO and co-founder of Recall, which is fascinating. It's essentially an on-chain arena where users or the community can help evaluate, rank, and reward the best AI agents, models, all that good stuff. Fascinating indeed. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Andy. Excited to have a great combo.
Yes, indeed. Just before we get into it, it'd be cool if you could introduce yourself, Michael. Would love to hear, a little bit of your personal and professional backstory. I guess, what have you been doing in the lead up to co-founding Recall?
Yeah, happy to share. I mean, I've been working at the intersection of crypto, identity, and reputation for the last decade. Started my journey at Consensus, where I was a co-founder of the first decentralized identity protocol on Ethereum called Uport. And from there, we sort of spun out of Consensus, and a couple other co-founders and I founded Ceramic, which was a decentralized data streaming network where people were building decentralized databases and storage based on identity and data ownership. And we, for a long time, had been working with the team over at Textile, who were building very similar tools and tooling. And we decided to merge companies and pursue reputation for the AI world. And that sort of brings me to Recall.
Good. All right. Well, why don't we, let's jump into Recall. So give us I suppose, like a high level, vision statement or, idea of what exactly it is you're doing with Recall.
Sure. Yeah. With Recall, we're building the world's first decentralized evaluation network for AI. In the world today, you have things like benchmarks that are used to test and sort of rank different AI models and their capabilities. Those things are just entirely untrustworthy and faulty, as we found. Like with the latest release of GPT-5, I don't think a model has ever had more hype leading up to its launch and crushed all of its benchmarks, right? It was supposed to be the best thing ever. When users actually got their hands on it and started testing it against real world scenarios, a lot of people had a very different experience. And so that's in the AI model world, but in the AI agent world, it's sort of a whole nother set of problems, right? Like you have now millions of AI agents coming online, built by developers around the world. How do you find those agents? How do you know which ones are good without actually testing them yourself? Despite all the hype from influencers or newsletters or, marketing from these projects, there's really no way for people to know what's good. And so with Recall, we really want to build a system that gives community the power to decide what skills AI should be ranked on, and then running competitions and evaluation markets on those AI to really surface the best, enable people to find the things they need to be better in their daily work, life, stuff like that.
It's still, it feels like it is still very early in terms of the AI agent the emerging AI agent market, if you like. Maybe just give us a sense of, how you think about it at the moment and where it's going in the very near future. You're obviously, all in on it to be doing what you're doing, but I think it'd be just useful context to kind of, set the stage for what people can do very soon with the different agents. Michael.
Sure. Yeah, I think um, it is a developing market, but you're already seeing uh, people building AI agents for all sorts of things. And at its core, you can really think of an AI agent as a sort of self-looping program that learns and makes decisions or executes tasks sort of autonomously, right? And with that sort of technology, you know, people are doing things like building automated trading bots that are managing cryptocurrency portfolios. You're seeing, people building agents to manage their calendars or availability, like manage their daily life, like a personal assistant. All the way up to even OpenAI building agents that power their applications, right? And so an agent is really sort of like a specialized program that uses AI to achieve some task or outcome. And so we're seeing a ton of experimentation across the board. Um, and it's still early, but where this whole industry is heading is into a global swarm of agents that are automating everything across your life, your work. And these agents need to coordinate, they need to work together and figure out how to delegate tasks, right? Because if one agent is super specialized at knowing the best restaurants, the most popular restaurants in a city, and you have another agent that knows your personal preferences for things or where you are, like how do those agents coordinate to actually execute on booking you a restaurant reservation according to your preferences in a spot near where you live in the city? And so agents are a wide, you get like a wide range of what people are building, but it's super exciting. I think the internet is going to be powered by agents, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are more agents online than people in the next decade.
Yeah, it's going to be quite the paradigm shift indeed. And so I guess, to help people make sense of the different agents and whether they can trust them or not, whether they're reliable, whether they do what they're supposed to do. Yeah, that's what Recall Network is all about. And essentially it's called Agent Rank, right? The system that you're using. So just explain Agent Rank. And is that's kind of inspired by PageRank, right? So I guess devs will understand a bit of this, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to go into it. And we actually just brought in the name from agent rank to recall rank because AI rank just didn't really seem that useful. It's pretty generic. But we started out ranking agents. And we've since grown and evolved into ranking all kinds of AI. So agents, models, workflows, tools. And yeah, very inspired by the concept of PageRank, which powers Google search for anyone that has used Google. Um, and in reality, the entire internet is built on reputation, right? Everything from your search results that are relevant to the keywords you type, to your TikTok feed showing you content based on relevance and reputation, to restaurant rankings, to the App Store rank, right, and ratings. And so, pretty much your entire online experience, the things you see, the things that have your attention, the things that you discover are all powered by reputation systems. And so, as this emerging internet of AI is coming online, um, we need a similar system to determine what the best AI are at the skills that people want and need. And how do we create a system that can surface the best result for your search, right? Like, I want an agent to manage my cryptocurrency portfolio that really only trades blue chip cryptocurrencies and has a strong reputation, right? And the results that you see should be based on something that's credible, ungameable, and transparent. And so that's really what we're building.
And so how does that work, like I guess in real life? Is it like there's a kind of a leaderboard model? How do you kind of segment it into the different use cases, the different models? Just give us a bit more color on how people could access, the information that they're looking for. And I guess, yeah, well, then we can talk about what's in it for the people that are building the agents and why they should submit them, right?
Yeah. So Recall Rank is the ranking system that Recall creates. And in order to create those rankings, we run AI competitions, which are, where the community defines a skill that they want to find the best AI for. And then they set the parameters of that competition. Like this competition should be decided by, in the case of cryptocurrency trading, um, a winners or top agents should be the ones with the maximum P&L at the end of the competition, right? And or they could define other parameters like maximum P&L or Sharp ratio, which is like a metric that traders look at when evaluating risk to return. So is your agent, degen longing these risky meme coins, or is it, taking, you know, stable positions in cryptocurrencies that don't have so much volatility? And so you can design these competitions for whatever the community wants to test. And then we pit these agents against each other in head-to-head live competitions. So one is going on right now. It's called the Crypto Trading Challenge. This is the 6th or 7th one we've run. I think about 100 agents have participated across those competitions, and the community gets involved too. And so at the end of this competition, you have objective, true results for which agent performed the best. And because we keep running these competitions, agents continue competing, over time. So it's not like a one-time performance, you get a rank. It's through continued performance and through continued proof that you earn stronger and stronger reputation over time. And we combine these competitions with what we call evaluation markets, which is where the community plays a role in helping to curate and add signal to the agents that actually work and the ones that do good. And today that happens through voting. So users are voting in this competition for which agent they think is going to win, trying to signal performance before it happens. And we will be introducing additional mechanisms to do that more economically over time. But yeah, I think over 150,000 users have already voted in this competition, which we just opened voting yesterday. So in the last competition, we had over 350,000 users voting and participating and curating these quality agents. So combined performance data through AI competitions and community curation, we combine those signals into recall rank. And so that's just sort of how it works under the hood, but it's really this dual-sided mechanism that provides trusted ratings and rankings.
Yeah, got it. Thank you, Michael. And who are the people then that are building these agents and submitting them, and how can people do that, and why should they do that? I guess it's probably a variety of different individuals, groups, organizations. I'm not sure.
Totally. Well, you have in our competitions, we've seen on one hand, like real AI products that you can use in the wild, enter our competitions to prove their relative outperformance, right? They want to prove that our product can actually do what it says it does. And they want to earn distribution and attention and trust by participating. But on the other hand, we've seen just a long tail of developers and non-developers in the community, now with the tools available to you to build things, including AI agents, becoming so easy, like vibe coding, is now a trend where you can prompt an AI to make you a product. Well, you can prompt AI to make you an AI agent now. And so people in the community are vibe coding AI agents with their specific strategies that they want to see the agent implement, and they're entering them in our competitions. One competition a few rounds back, it was like over 60 or 70% of the agents that were competing were vibe coded by non-developers in our community that they learned how to do this by watching a live stream from our developer relations, and community mod. So it's really a range. And on the other hand, we ran what we called, the model arena, where we took off the shelf models, 50 of the top AI models from OpenAI, XAI, DeepSeek, Anthropic, and we tested them on skills and challenges that the community designed. And so it's sort of a different frame of competition than these like live head to head trading competitions where the community votes and participates. In this case, we took off the shelf models that people wanted to see ranked on certain skills. And those people defined the skills that they wanted tested. And we saw things like, safety or JavaScript coding, like some of the skills that you might think would be more common and popular. But we also saw a bunch of weird skills come up, like which agent is best at not using M dashes in writing, right? Which is like not a benchmark that the big labs will run or a benchmark that someone else, like some of the evaluation companies out there will run. But because it was crowdsourced from the community, it's like what people actually care about. It's like the use cases for models that people think are important and they want to see which one verifiably is the best at that thing. And so there's, a lot of different types of competitions and ways of ranking AI. But the key piece here is that the community is sort of involved in defining what those things are and what they look like. So, yeah, just a few examples.
And what about, you've also got this, it's called recall predict, right? So I think that's what you're talking about right at the beginning of the show about how, the kind of the benchmarking from the big companies, you use the example of OpenAI and GPT-5, which was, yeah, perhaps in hindsight overhyped, and undercooked, but this is just kind of the way. But yeah, so explain how you're trying to fix this, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's the big idea is that for AI models today, their core reputation, the reputation system that is in existence are benchmarks. And these benchmarks are basically tests that these labs or these evaluation companies decide are the right way to measure the performance of these models. And they're entirely problematic. This is not my opinion, right? This is now pretty commonly understood that people design these benchmarks. They're known, right? So the most popular benchmarks are public information. And so what we see are models actually just train on those benchmarks. It's called like benchmaxing or overfitting, right? So models train to be good at the test. So of course, when these models come out, like their benchmark scores are through the roof and they continue to get better over time. But then when users actually take these models out for a test drive in the real world, they're underperforming their reported benchmark scores. And so like those scores are not a viable reputation system for AI. Um, and on the other hand, with all the agents that people are creating that are specialized in all these like, very niche tasks, like a good AI agent should, it's really hard to have a generalized AI agent that's good at everything. So people are creating them for all these like very niche specific things. And there's no benchmark that can cover them. Right. And so it's just this problem where not only are benchmarks gameable and don't produce like actual verifiable results, but on the other hand, they can't cover the wide range of skills that people actually want AI to do. And so generally with recall, we're harnessing the power of community to define the things that AI should be tested on, to design, the actual tests that measure those skills that they think are important, and to crowdsource these AI tools to actually run through these evaluations. And so it's a more open, it's a more trustworthy, credible system that can form the foundation of reputation and discovery for AI.
Very good. And, if we take it back to some of the, the competitions that you're, or the arena battles, however you want to frame it, that, your community is creating to evaluate these agents. You talked about the kind of I guess, the crypto trading competition. Give us what are some other examples that are, kind of maybe live or relevant now, and are these sort of crypto involved or crypto adjacent to begin with, and I guess just over time that will evolve as everything develops further.
Yeah. I mean, so now the most popular one and the one that we've run publicly for agents has been crypto trading. Again, because the community expressed like this is a use case for agents that we want to do. Like we want to find the best agents because we do want them to manage our portfolios. And so in response to community demand, those have been the ones we're running. But on the, like we just talked about on the AI model side, like actually running competitions for these AI models, that was like Recall Predict. And that's where we ran competitions for which, frontier AI model is best at not using M dashes, which AI model is best at giving business strategy, advice, which AI model is best at, um, you know, using persuasive communication, like which one is more, persuasive in its writing and communication to a user. And so we ran 8 of those types of sort of like random, best at JavaScript coding, um, best at image gen. And so for agents, we focus primarily on trading, but models, it's sort of been a wider set of competitions and skills that we test.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the M dash thing is quite funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Any idea what LLM is best at not using the M dash? I mean, I guess you can just use it as one of your prompts. You can say never use the M dash, and you kind of solve that problem. But it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I have it pulled up right here. I mean, actually, Meta Llama 3.1 405B was best at that. Uh, and, OpenAI o1 was third best. And actually, GPT-5, which many users predicted would be the best at not using M dashes because it's a newer model, people generally expect progress when it comes to these AI releases, was fifth. And so generally, we do see newer models being better, generally speaking, at not using M dashes, but GPT-5 was not the best. It was worse than Anthropic's Claude 3.7 Sonnet, which came in fourth. So, it's just, I like that example because it's one of these like niche tests, right? Skills that people do want to know. Like personally, I don't like using M dashes in my writing. I, am a comma maxi, I guess you can say. And so this is something that I want to know. It's one of the things that annoys me about using, AI models for generating content is like it always comes with M dashes. And it is sort of now a signal that writing is AI generated. So people are like, how can we measure this and actually choose the best models for writing?
What's funny about this, Michael, is just in preparation to talking to you, I do a bit of research, and sometimes I'll just put your Twitter profile, your name, and, the website into GPT-5 and say something like, give me 12 insightful podcast questions for Michael Sena Recall. And so I've got those questions in front of me, and to be fair, they're not actually didn't do a particularly good job. So I'm used a couple of them, but podcasts go better when I just kind of follow the conversation, which is what we're doing today. But I do have them in front of me, and it's full of M dashes.
Right?
So
It's like, it's kind
funny.
of insane. It's like, whoever coded these LLMs and trained them, like must have thought that M dashes are objectively the best way to write, which I think it's not a commonly held belief. And actually, stylistically, I think a lot of people don't prefer them. So yeah, this is like one of those things that like, would a, typical benchmarking organization or like a closed source labs, like, is this something they would test their AI on and publish the results? Not today, but it is something that the recall community cares about. And it is something that we are testing AI on.
Can you think of some other just kind of quirky results, things like that? What the particular models that are good at weird, obscure things or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, so some of the other ones we tested were, harm avoidance, which is interesting, right? The community wanted to test and evaluate which AI models would refuse to, give guidance to users that would result in harm, illegal, or unethical activity. So which ones sort of had the strongest ethical compass, right, when it comes to like giving users results to questions? And surprisingly, OpenAI's GPT-5 was the best at that. Newer models did have stronger ethical boundaries. Grok 4 placed second, and Google Gemini 2.5 placed fourth. So we did see like some of the most popular models excelling at that skill to not sort of avoid harm to users, and that must be because the AI labs are now taking this into like a strong requirement. Like they don't want their models giving users responses that result in harm or illegality, right? And so I think that that's an interesting insight where it seems like these AI models are becoming quote unquote safer in that sense, as newer ones are developed. What else do we have here? I'm just looking at it now. We tested the basic ones like JavaScript coding, document summarization, um, I think another interesting one was compassionate communication. People wanted to know which models were able to deliver, potentially devastating personal news to a user with appropriate empathy and support. Like which models were the most compassionate? Like you could think, we tested it, and the community actually designed the test. And the test was, how do you sort of communicate to a user that they are likely being caught up in an online romance scam? It's something that's like, okay, that how does a model tell that to a user who might be invested in this, who they think to be a person that loves them online, and sort of break the news to them gently? And the winner was Grok 4. Grok 4 like was actually significantly better than a lot of the other models at communicating with users compassionately and with empathy. It sort of, you could see the response in the test that Grok had, and it sort of like was really uh, tactful in how it sort of like communicated to a user that they might be in these things, and how if they needed support or whatever. Like it was just a very caring model, and that might not be a benchmark that you see publicly published. So I think that is the power, is sort of the long tail of all these things that people might need. Um, and so, yeah, I think like that's the power of crowdsourcing these sorts of evals and benchmarks. Um, you know, and they end up much more aligned to what people actually care about.
100%. Very well said. All right, Michael, look, as we start to finish up this part of the podcast, just for people that either, want to maybe submit an agent that they've built, or, they want to come and, participate in setting competitions and helping rank these agents and models and so on. Just explain where people should go to learn more and get involved. What should they do? Where should they go?
Sure. Well, first, we publish all of our news and announcements and things on X. So the best thing to do is follow us on X at RecallNet. Most of the big announcements and news and stuff in the community will all be shared on there. We're pretty active. We reply. But the next best place to go is app.recall.network. That's where you can register agents to begin competing in competitions. By competing in competitions, you earn reputation, actual cash prizes right now, and points in our incentive program. If you want to shape competitions, if you want to define new skills that we should be testing, or if you want to define the tests for those skills, you can go to predict.recall.network. There is an area for you to submit skills and evals on there, and we'll use those in future tests and competitions that we use to test agents or models. And of course, our Discord, discord.recall.network, is sort of the hub for the community. It's where people chat, share ideas. We do live streams that help people learn to vibe code, all that sorts of good stuff.
Awesome. Let's go to a very quick break, and then we'll come back. We'll have some fun. We'll finish off by running Michael through the very famous crypto conversation hot take round. Back in 1 second.
Let's go.
All right, we're back. I'm with Michael Sena. Michael, of course, is the co-founder of Recall, helping to rank AI models, AI agents, all that good stuff. Michael, we finish off the show by running you through the very famous crypto conversation hot take round. Are you up for it?
I'm ready. I'm feeling spicy.
Feeling spicy. Just going to run some questions at you, Michael. Just want you to give me your honest answers, hot take style, if you like. Question one for you is very simply, where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
Yeah, I'm definitely part of in the camp of the multi-chain verse. I think, Bitcoin has a very specific use case, and that use case is value. And it excels at that. It is the best. But is it the only chain that will ever be used for anything? No. I just think, like AI agents and like applications today, a blockchain is designed for a particular use case, and it is, has to be designed through and through for that. The way that Solana optimizes for speed, maybe at the expense of decentralization. Um, you see Ethereum optimizing for a different set of use cases. You see Bitcoin optimizing for a different set of use cases. That's going to be the case all the way up and down. And so, yeah, as the use cases for what should live on chain grow, the number of chains will grow.
Very, very much agree. All right. Well, what would you say is your firmest conviction AI opinion, Michael?
Ooh, that's a good one. My firmest conviction is that stuff is going to keep getting weirder, right? Like, as it's already getting pretty weird today. The things that people are using AI for, the types of AI that people are building. I mean, in it seems like every few months there's new breakthroughs that enable new stuff, and the experimentation is massive in the space right now. So, though I don't know exactly what it looks like, I can guarantee that it'll keep getting weird. Now you used to have AI development and progress limited to, very specialized engineers that worked at AI labs that were coding things up. And now with vibe coding and progress in AI models, you're going to see this like explosion of all sorts of experiments that come from a whole bunch of people's brains around the world. So, yeah, I'm pretty convicted that things will get weirder, but progress will be continue to be pretty exponential.
Let's bring it back to the present day, just really quickly. Yeah, what are what are the LLMs that you actually use on a daily basis? What's your go-to?
Yeah, I use GPT-5. I use Claude. I think Claude is like pretty good and has a really nice experience of how you prompt it, the types of writing it produces. Like, on a daily basis, I'm using AI for content gen, for image gen, for vibe coding actual products that we use internally, optimizing and automating a bunch of internal workflows. Um, and those do a pretty good job for me. Open Router is great at using the right model for the right job. Um, and so we use that to integrate and use a bunch of models internally, optimized for what we want to optimize them for. Um, Fun one is, it's been a long held pet peeve of mine that a bunch of these image gen models, like you prompt it, it creates an image, and then you say, adjust this little thing, and it gives you an entirely different image.
Yes, so
Because
frustrating.
it's so frustrating because they're non-deterministic, right? Like that's a symptom of the models, like sort of thinking on their own. But Google's new model, um, you know, Nano Banana, uh, funnily named, um, has been really good. Like I've been putting things in it and telling it to like tweak this one thing, and it'll give me the same exact image back with just that thing tweaked. So like I think we're seeing definite progress in terms of image gen. I mean, obviously, um, things were not great in the past. They could create great outcomes, but it was entirely random. You just had to kind of hope for the best. But it seems like we're at a point now where you can use it to create very specific things that you have in mind, which is actually what a lot of people want to do.
Yeah, and look, it reminds me of it's a great quote by William Gibson, who famously said that the future is already here; it's just not evenly distributed. So, with that in mind, Michael, can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people aren't aware of it?
Yeah. I mean, I think in terms of AI, largely now, I mean, it's the most profound technological change and societal change that's happening right before our eyes. I think a lot of people, use AI for very uh, like casual use cases, right? They ask it something, they need an answer to a question, it gives them an answer. Um, but there are smart organizations and groups of people that are using AI for like very profound things. And, the acceleration and efficiency, it's like not that people are losing jobs per se, right? It's just that those who are, you know, going from, we need 10 employees to do one thing. Now we have those 10 employees each able to do 100 things each, right? So the exponential increase in productivity um, is insane. And most people are like, oh, smart knowledge worker jobs are going to be lost. It's like, no, now the value generated per knowledge worker is 100x higher. So why wouldn't I want to hire more people, right? Like just the exponential increase in output has been pretty insane. And so the it not being distributed is entirely true. Like I just don't think people are thinking about the scale and transformation that's happening right now.
100%. And it brings us nicely to the final question, Michael, which is very simply, what is your favorite science fiction book, a film, or a TV show?
I mean, my favorite book, I think, of all time, period, is Three Body Problem. The first one. And so the later ones were not as good, but massive fan of the original. And so would have to say that.
Yeah, and I guess the next installment of the Netflix series of the Three Body Problem is coming soon, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, I thought Netflix was pretty good. I actually haven't seen it yet, but I've heard that there's a Chinese version of the Three Body Problem as a show that is way better. So you need to check that out, but also encourage anyone else to check that out. Yeah.
100. All right, time to close it out, Michael. Thank you so much for coming on the show and spending some time with us today. Again, just to finish off, direct people to the Recall website and shout out your Twitter handles, all that good stuff. Go for gold.
Cool. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, I've had a great time on the show. So, of course, shout out if you want to follow me on X. I'm decently active. It's at Data Liquidity. You can follow Recall at RecallNet. You can hop in, start participating in our AI trading competition that's happening right now on app.recall.network. Sign in, create your account, vote. You can, earn a bunch of points that will likely be useful in the future. And I would say just dive in, jump into the community. Everyone's really welcoming. They pump stuff out in Discord 24/7 around the world. So if you're interested in these things, like more trustworthy AI rankings, AI competitions, evaluation markets, vibe coding, we've got it all for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. All the best, and bye for now.
Yep. Thanks, Andy.